Hey, what's up, guys? So, this is where I'm at right now in D2, and it's a bit of a climb to get to D3, but that's the immediate goal here. And so, I got Captain J.K. Sparrow, and he's 90 mil, 3.5 mil STP. And as you guys know, I'm getting close to 90 mil. I'm about 86 and a half and 3.3 mil STP. So let's just take a look at my defense one more time. This is my defense. And this is his defense. So I've mapped out my attacks. I'm going to get in touch with Updog to see if he's streaming today and if I can do my attacks on there. If not, I'll just get mine in. But right now, I've referenced the counter sheet quite a bit to try to figure out some things I want to do here. And there's not a whole lot on here from the counter sheet, so maybe there'll be some new counters coming in from this video, but there are some the same. So the first thing I did is I talked to Sierra. We chat every day, and I went to his video, and he did Hive Mind into 2. In Hive Mind, he punched up, my Hive Mind is about the same strength as his, and he hit a 2.9 mil extreme in 2. So I think I should be able to get this. I don't see any reason why I can't use my Tangled Web, probably Emma, Nova, and somebody else. I don't know if I'm going to go with Doom, maybe, or I might just go OR instead. We'll see. I got to get that a little thought, but it'll be Tangled Web Nova for 1. Now, 3 is looking like Superior 6. The question mark is, do I go in with Superior 6 APOC? Which that might be the answer, because that's a pretty big team in there. And, with Red Hawk being 3 diamonds. And then for number 4, which this is the scariest, of course, I think it's just got to be Cabal. So since I don't look like I need Masters of Evil, I'm thinking Cabal, Scroll, Kang. And the hope is Kang will knock out the revives for whoever's there, but he does have a 7 red scroll, so this will be tricky. But I'm thinking the speed advantage should still go to Kang over Emma. Because I took SD off defense, I'm going to go with SD, just full SD, even with Strange. And I'm thinking about taking Doctor Strange to 18, so that might be my next project, because he was really formidable in room 6 when I went against that yesterday. So yeah, I think it's time for him to go to 18. And that'll take a while, but that'll be my project. And then room 6, I'm just thinking of going with New Warriors and Lizard. So that'll be what I take into 6. And we'll see how that pans out. So I just want to put this part in real quick, guys, and we'll see what happens with the attacks in a bit. Okay, guys, so we're going to continue on. And I'm going to go into this a little bit differently just because I was on Updog stream last night, and it was a lot of fun. And so the fights will be from the replays. But what I'll do is I'll just go left to right with my attacks, and then left to right because my opponent did his attacks, and then we'll just take a look at the final score. And then we'll double back over to my defense, because I did make one adjustment, and we'll talk about why. But the first fight you see here is his room 1 is Darkhold. And Darkhold did a decent job. When you look at the overall performance, 8360, it's not terrible. It just goes to show that the same old counter just goes in and works. So let's just go in and take a look at the battle. It's nothing special. It's what we've seen over and over again. I think what makes it a little bit unique is because he's got a 3 diamond, really huge Vol, and that had me a little concerned going into this. But as you can see, it didn't really make a difference. And so what Sham told me to do is he said to go ahead and target Agatha on the opening move with 99. And I never thought about that. I'd either target Morgan, or I'd target Strange, or sometimes I'd even target Wong. And so it plays out a lot better. And then, of course, come in and stun Wong. But you can see how long Morgan is stunned. And that was a great opening move just to just to make the fight cleaner and easier. And I've never actually killed Agatha that quickly. So what he showed me here is it's a nice smooth way to kill Agatha off. And his suggestion was to keep Morgan stunned. And so that's kind of what happened there. But as you can see, when I come in with Doom's ult, it just pretty much had them all set up to just make it real easy to pick them off. So in this next battle, yeah, my opponent, he was running extreme in 2. And I had never done the counter with Hive Mind. So I doubled back and I looked at Desir's video because he has a really good walkthrough on it. And then once again, Sham, he helped me with this because it's pretty cool on the streams. You have an expert in there that can kind of walk you through some things. But this fight was so easy, and clearly is why I think Desir did a 700k punch up on his. So it's like no worries. So it's just something to watch. And Sham, I'll point out the differences in what he suggested I do, and then what I was just kind of used to doing. But as you can see, the results are still fine. I mean, 8370. So let's just take a look. So I do lead in on Forge, but Sham was just saying it doesn't matter. And then his suggestion was to go in with Carnage's basic on Gambit. So that could be a difference if you're punching up bigger. But as you can see, going in with his special, it just did make a huge difference. And then I think I went back to targeting. I think I targeted Forge for a bit, but he did tell me to target Cyclops. But you can see the results. Okay, so now here, this one I was a little more concerned with, and I had chatted with Desir about this one because I was going to go in with Superior 6 in Vulture. And what he suggested is go in with APOC. And I'm really glad I did that because as you see this one play out, you can see that APOC is needed here. And so that's something to think about when you see a really big out of time trio and a huge red Hulk. So that would be a concern. Or even a huge Hulk, I would suppose. And so you don't have much choice but to target Black Knight. So you go in and you do that. And I think as soon as I got a chance, I did target Hulk, but Red Hulk. But it took a while to get from behind the taunts, and that would be Cap and Black Knight. And even though Black Knight is putting in a lot of damage, even though Peggy put in a lot of damage there, you can see what APOC is doing, and so that just kind of seals the deal and makes it a nice clean fight. So on this one here, I was very concerned, mostly because in Arena, I have a 6 red scroll, and a lot of the guys now have a 7 red scroll, and it is a very big difference when you're going against a 7 red scroll. Yeah, in Arena you have the buffs on the certain tunes you have in there, so you can negate it to a degree. But when, say, Black Knight has diamonds, or especially when a hard light has diamonds, like 3 diamonds, it's hard to get around them. And then the power of that scroll, it will come through. He'll last. He'll survive any type of retaliations from your Black Knight. And when he ults, it's totally devastating. And so I was a bit concerned because I wanted to make sure I could kill off this team before the red scroll would before Scroll would ult. But he did ult. And so you guys just take a look at this and see how it plays out. The advantage to running this particular team is because Kang is so much stronger. So you can see how his basic just comes in. He just annihilates Emma and almost destroys Dorm. But pretty much Dorm got hit pretty hard on the assist. Now, because his scroll is so strong and he revives, you can see how much health he has, and he comes in, and that's how hard he hits. It's just that my Cabal was built pretty strong and survived it. Kang almost did not. And so that's when Kang just kind of cleans it up. So on this fight here, this was just a huge punch down. The idea was to go in because the blinds would hopefully not take because my team is so big and they might resist. But for sure, I'm pretty sure it's Black Cat. She would just clear out the blinds, and then so if she can clear out the blinds, and then that would be problematic for them. And it was just like I've been talking to guys about, just kind of tired of seeing my secret defenders get stomped on, and they can be an extremely powerful team on offense. And you can see the difference here because I probably would have had a little bit of a more of a struggle here, maybe the mirror or something else. And just going in with them, you can see the score 83-69. So I'm really happy to have them back on offense. And as you see how my defense works out, you'll see that it was the right move. So when Mags hits, you can see the blind is on Strange and Robbie. And that's mostly because I think hard light, well, I lead with hard light special anyway. And that was advice from Sham. But I believe it's just the resistance really on Photon because she's so huge. And Black Cat cleared it off of herself. So after that, it's just pretty much just overpowering him. It's like a 1 mil punch down. And even Strange survives, and he's G17. And so it just goes to show the power of this team. So this fight here was the finale, and my thought was after I had seen pretty much New Avengers coming in wiping this team, and like I said, I took a look at Juicy's video with Gamer, and he was just saying it's a particular placement when you're running Dorm and Morgan to where the New Avengers, where the New Warriors will have trouble or just won't work. And so that's where I think some decisions would have to be made. So, but let's just play this so you guys can see. It's pretty clean. It's pretty consistent. You can see the score 83-67, and this is why such a powerful team like Secret Defenders, I think their time on defense is just it's waning. Yeah, probably the best defense is the one that Juicy suggests for Room 6, and even then, with your correct counters, you can still blow it up pretty much similarly to what I'm doing here. So I'm pretty sure I started this one off on Robbie. You can see there's a little damage on him. And then the key I thought would be to lead in on Robbie, but Sham said no, go ahead and hit, kind of focus in on Black Cat a bit. Now he did tell me to spread with the Death Pool special from Robbie, and so that would hit Shang, but it didn't really matter. I just moved a little bit too quickly, and so I used the Death Pool ult and targeted Shang. But you can see the results here. So now we'll go to the defense, and this is Doolam's defense, and I was pleasantly surprised because you can see how strong this guy's Masters of Evil is. I mean, perhaps he would have done better if he had the ladies on the Masters of Evil at G18, but he did come in with a huge APOC and Kang. But at the end of the day, at 83-39 is pretty low. If you're not gonna force a double tap, this is pretty ideal. I mean, the turn bonus is a 10, the health is a 4, and I'm pretty happy with the results overall. So I will be running this, and I think the key is what he said is you have to have Dorm as Raider. Now maybe somebody else in there could have been a striker, but after seeing this, I like the idea of just keeping them all Raider. So let's just go forward and take a look at this, and we'll just see how it plays out. So the biggest thing I was concerned with looking at how this will go is who would they attack first? And I thought they would lead in on Forge. He led in on Gambit, and maybe that's just a misplay. Maybe not. I mean, Forge is stunned, and he didn't use his ultimate to revive anybody. Well, I don't think he did, because I blew through it trying to look at this before the recording. But at the end of the day, you see Dorm does his damage. He's still at full health, and that's a concern, I would think, at this part of the fight. And so it gets rid of Forge, which could be a good idea. My concern would be if Dorm were to get his ult off. So he doesn't, but you can see how he's shredding off these attacks, and he was a Raider. And so now the revives come into play, and this is where the fight gets drawn out a bit. And a stronger Nightcrawler than mine, because I don't have any diamonds on them, could have wiped them out. So just keep that in mind, that as you're building your Nightcrawler, for those that are going for DD7, you get a G19 Nightcrawler. And for me, I'm going to go with Gambit as well. I'm going to try to. So if possible, before the season, those two can get the G19, this room will be very, very hard to beat, I would think. So we'll see. And I think some of the choices here near the end may have cost him some more points, because you can see how Nightcrawler healed up. And I would have been a little worried about Cyclops' ult, but I think I would have tried to kill off Nightcrawler. And I think that's what cost him that last bit of efficiency he could have had on this room. So to me, the bigger threat is Nightcrawler over Cyclops. But I suppose he was just looking at the timing and thinking that he would get blown up. So it's a judgment call at that part of the game. So as you can see here, stage 2 was a problem for him. And I can see that because I've stumbled on Pegasus. And that's because if you don't have your counter lined up, you'll be in trouble. I just assumed that he had Bifrost. And this, guys, is where the spreadsheet comes in handy. There's an old saying, don't trust a long memory over a short pencil. But at any rate, so you can see that his hive mind did not work, so he canceled. And that was probably the best bet, because he'd be able to use them somewhere else. But at the moment, it just looks like Bifrost will be the answer. And he had a Bifrost, and he didn't use them. But you can see here that this cost him. So in looking at this room, my concern is that we don't have many options for this room. And it looks like it's going to be X-Men. And if my X-Men are big, I could put other things in here, but at the end of the day, they're going to still use New Warriors. Now, this score is the problem, 83-67. My hope was that Nick would be able to go in and get his first turn. But New Warriors are just so much faster than even Nick in Crucible that didn't work. So we'll just play it so you guys can see what happened here. And this is the room where I made some adjustments. So you can see his first move is to hit Nick, which was the best move. He slowed Nick down. He flipped the positive effects, and so Nick never summons his minions. And that was the whole point of this room. Even though Deathpool would have sliced them up and gotten some speed from them eventually, but the idea was to see if the minions could bring in some assists, because he's not using Echo. And that's another reason for the spreadsheet, because then you see Echo, and then you can see how the assists wouldn't take place. The problem with this team is I don't really have any hitters. And so that's really why to me, there's no assist going on. It could be why he just didn't go in with Echo. So we'll see in the long run what the pieces are for this room. But at the moment, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep Rogue in here. I don't know. Colossus is pretty beefy. He'll probably stay. And, Sunspot is key because of his offense up. And we'll see how it plays out. So this team is just starting to appear to be a big threat to people. There's times I think about just going ahead and taking the rest of the team up, to 100. I watched Antiblade go against this team, and he went in with his Eternals. I think it was Eternals and Tangle Web, and got slaughtered. The Black Order had to be all level 100. I think it was like a 2.7 mil altogether with the Quicksilver. So that just suggested to me all G18, probably level 100. And, that I didn't get a good look, so I don't know who all had diamonds, but it was just a problem. And so even with this battle here, I just want you guys to see it just so you can see what Black Order is doing, and how and why guys are going in with like a superior 6 on a punch down for Black Order and Quicksilver. So you can see Thanos just comes right out. I'm not sure why he targeted who he targeted. And the key difference that I noticed with the bigger Black Order is that ult would not have hurt the smaller tunes that I have as much. Because you see Proxima's almost dead, and at now, Maw is in the red. But they, as even this older team, would have survived that a little bit better. And that makes me wonder, because then that's when, if they could, that's when Quicksilver could really get a chance to go off. And it makes me think about trying to do a little bit more with this team. So once again, the investment that I put into my Infinity Watch is paying off. And so this one here, we can imagine how it played out. But the whole idea of having out of time, and as big as I made them and put them in room 6, is because, hey, this is where you're going to use your Cabal. Come in with your Cabal, beat my out of time, and then they've done their job. And then at the end of the day, I'm okay with this score. Also, I wanted to add in that when I use the spreadsheet and I spend some time to try to figure out the best layout for my defense, the idea was to try to make room 6 and room 1 the choices to use Cabal. And as you can see, my opponent used Cabal on 6. And for 1, I don't think it was a bad choice going with Massive Evil and APOC. But you see how that turned out, and I like the results from that. So there's an advantage to spending some time to use the Marvel Strike Force counter sheet to see what can be the best defense you can use for all 6 rooms. And so that spreadsheet also helped me figure out, for this combination, the best team to put into room 2. And at the moment, that seems to be Pegasus. Room 3 is still a question mark. Perhaps this is the best of what I can put in there without taking away from my offense. I do like the idea of 4, even though there's some other things I could go in here and make it tougher. It keeps my offense strong. And of course, Infinity Watch seems to, for me, do better in 5. So I just wanted to add that piece in, guys, so that we could kind of see the advantage to using the spreadsheet to put together your defense. So here's the final score, and it was good to get the win. And we'll see what the points are, what they give me for a win like this, because it will be good to get a decent amount of points to try to close the gap for me to get to D3. Okay, guys, so that's it for this one. So at least now I'm 1-1. You can see here on the chart, so I'll move into that box, and then we'll see who I get matched against tonight. Okay, guys, chat later.